What's up, fam?
What's happening?
What's happening? This is Night Nurse Davis.
And Business Fitness.
Every time.
On the dive. Not a crime. Oh, keep coming.
We are checking in once again. You are a fool, honey. We're checking in once again from the Honky Tonk Chronicles. And we first and foremost want to thank you all for your continuous love and support that you show us on all of our platforms. We have now reached enough followers to go live on TikTok. So woo woo. Myself and Sandy7 did a quick check-in with you all via live on TikTok not too long ago. Again, just thanking you for your love and support. We will be doing another brief live after we finish this podcast recording, just kind of as a recap and again a token of our appreciation for you all continuously showing your love and support for us.
Absolutely. We appreciate y'all.
So today's podcast is going to be about grief. And I know that we kind of broached this subject before, but we're going to circle back to it a little bit just so that we can get in detail a little bit. Before we start, we typically have a live audience of some sort. So if you hear any, we like to eat. So you might hear an oven door opening, somebody eating some chips. We have family here with us, right? We have all the love and support that we can get because speaking of grief, it's been some difficult times, right? So we keep our family around, we keep the love, we keep the support around. It's much needed. And, that's kind of really what we're going to be talking to you all about today.
So we're going to start with talking about, what has grief done? How has it affected us? And what does it look like as far as learning to exist, to cope? How has it been for you?
So grief for me, first of all, there's several stages to grief, right? There's 5 different stages to grief. And I know sometimes they don't necessarily have to go in a particular order. They kind of show up in ways that we don't necessarily expect them to show up, or we try to shy away from them or hide them. Because most of us, I don't really like to cry in front of people.
I don't mind crying. I think it's to what extent, I guess, because if it's, because I cry if I'm really, really angry. Okay. That's really bad if I get to that point when I'm angry. But I also cry when I'm very, very happy.
If he's angry and he's crying, just leave because he's seeing red at that point. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. I seen black. But yeah, but if I'm happy, if I'm really touched by something that can seem, a lot of it I keep to myself. So if I could see a scenario or something playing out through between 2 individuals, or maybe a child and a parent, and it just presses that emotional button, and it gets the tears to flowing, and I can either because I can relate, or I understand, I can comprehend what's happening, what's going on, or it just may be that little boy in me, because I feel like we all have, some type of childhood trauma and things that we have to overcome as adults and learn to deal with and heal from.
Very true.
So. But for me, grief, you finished right now?
Not yet, but
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you
My
fine,
bad.
you fine.
Go ahead. We don't want to interrupt.
No problem. So I'm done. I was just going to talk about the 5 stages of grief really quickly. The first stage of grief, and like I said, these don't necessarily have to go in this order, but they are the processes of grief. So at some point during your grieving process, you'll experience all five, right? And then you may circle back to some. Like, for instance, the first step of grief is denial.
Yes.
It's really difficult for you to believe. And So side note, when we're talking about grief, this can be by way of the loss of a loved one through death, or this could be the ending of a relationship, because as we all know, child, that feel a lot like somebody done died. You know what I'm saying? Feel like a Mack truck hit you. You can't get out of bed. You can't function. It can't be true. I don't want to eat. I can't sleep. All of the things. But the first stage that is listed as the steps of grief is denial. Yeah. It's hard to believe this is happening. This can't be real. And then all of a sudden we see black in Ben Fitness case, right? It's the anger phase. You get angry, whether that be at yourself or the other person that was involved. You know, why did this have to happen? Why did you do this? What could have been done differently? And then the third stage, you bargain. You know, like I said, what could have been done different? Maybe if I would have done this, maybe if we would have talked about it, maybe if this, maybe if that. A lot of ruminating thoughts, just a lot of what ifs. And then sometimes anxiety can creep in with that too. After that, depression starts to set in, you know, everything. It just seems like there is no light. You feel a heavy weight. That's right. It feels like a hole that you're trying to crawl out of. And a lot of stages can come with depression. So I do implore you all that if you happen to reach a phase where you feel like your grieving is for an extended period of time, or if you're having difficulty thinking through it, processing it, please reach out to a mental health expert so that you can get the proper guidance and help that you need. The last and fifth stage of grief is acceptance. And again, doesn't have to be in any particular order, but when you finally realize this is something that's happened, this is something that I have to accept. I can't change it. There's nothing I can do. I can cry until my face turns blue, red, pink, purple. It's not going to change. Nothing about this is going to change, especially if you're talking about the loss of a loved one through death. Like there's no return from that.
There's no type of no preparation whatsoever.
Right. Occasionally we can salvage relationships that are lost. But with death, there's a lot of times no preparation, and there is ultimately no return from that. So we have to accept it. Yeah. I know, like I said, as a family, we have experienced some shared losses, and then we have each experienced our own individual losses as well throughout the past years. Without the past couple of years, we have had some very traumatic, detrimental losses. Really close. Exactly. Sudden deaths. And we talked about this before when we had Deja Vu on the platform. And one of those losses was my sister, her mother. And that continues to impact us daily. Deja Vu did take a step back from the platform for a little while because she kind of needed to she just needed the time, you know. That was my sister. That was Ben Fitness's cousin. And so I'm sure it probably impacted us a little bit differently. Oh, absolutely. What do you think?
I feel like, definitely it impacted each of us differently because she held a different space in our hearts, you know, and she, different roles, you know. But the most beautiful thing about her was, for me, I never seen her upset, you know, and that's the beauty of it that makes me feel at peace, knowing that she impacted us in ways that in the best way that she could, which was love. All that she had to give, even some that was probably unavailable. We never knew what she may have been challenged with, because we all have our issues and circumstances that we deal with in silence. Right. No matter how close we are to each other, some things we just won't, you know, disclose. And because of that, you just never know sometimes what a person's going through. So I just try to look at the positive aspect of her, the impact. It was, I could not talk to her for weeks and then see her, and then we both just loud and cutting up just about nothing, you know, and that's just when you know it's genuine. and that person really means something to you, you know. I will say for me, I've suffered what grief means to me in this current day and time, because I've suffered not only physical loss and through death, but relationship, and learning to be okay with being okay and alone.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, learning to be okay and to at least exist and manage. And you know, for you have a beautiful daughter, but I felt like at times I had no one. You know, I felt like I had no one, although I know I had, you know, a few. No, absolutely. You know, you can know you have people and not have people, you know. Because there's some things and certain aspects of grief that you just have to endure on your own. You have to learn how to endure on your own. And just sometimes when you want to reach out for a little help or cry, you don't have the capacity, you don't have the energy to do so, you know. And so that sometimes can weigh on you more than what you're already dealing with, having to express your feelings and tell the story all over again. And it's almost like reliving it all over again and exposing those wounds. And, you know, when you're just trying to keep a Band-Aid on it, you know. And so that's what we want to bring to you all today, is to bring you our perspective and get your perspective and views also. So don't hesitate to comment down below and let us know what you think, what grief did to you and what it looks like for you, and overcoming and healing, the healing process. And like she stated, the 5 stages of grief, there's all of that. There's anger, there's denial, there's acceptance, there's bargaining, you going back and forth in your head, you know. There's oh my God. Now, if we're going to talk about depression, there's so many layers to depression. There's so many different types of depression, and a lot of times we don't even know we're in depression or suffering from depression, because we feel like we're managing life, you know. We're functional.
It's like autopilot mode.
It's autopilot, yeah. Until you realize, you know, the greatest thing I could have done, though, I did for myself, was go to therapy and better help me identify the fact that I was actually, and accept the fact that I am depressed, and it's okay. But now, what is the resolution? You know, what's the next step look like for me? And so, that grief for me has been different, and it looks like, you know, learning how to come home and, you know, fend for yourself. You know, although I can cook my own meals and things of that nature, it was nice to know that either me or my partner, you know, one of us had an idea, or dinner was already served, or it's the little things, right? It's the company, it's the, you know, I can yell across the room or shout in the hallway and say, you know, bring me, you know, I don't know, bring me some pillows from upstairs or something. I don't know. It's just the luxury and the beauty, the little things that, you know, at that point in time, your person, they were able to fulfill. And so for me, grief has looked it's been a chameleon.
I'm not even gonna hold y'all. Grief hit me heavy. Like I mentioned, you know, with the loss of my sister in 2024, and that was unexpected. Yeah. And then more recently, it's like, just as I thought I was recovering somewhat from that, and then unfortunately my daughter's father passed in March of this year, and we were not together, but the impact that he had on my life, I have one child, you know, so I feel like he helped me create the greatest gift of my life. That's something that we shared. She's very beautiful. She's a very sweet, beautiful reflection of the both of us. But every day when I look at her, there is something about her that reminds me of her dad. And I felt shattered. And this is not something that I've shared with a lot of people because of where we were at that time. It almost, made me feel like I didn't have a place to feel the grief that I was feeling for him. But it was very real. It is very real. Yeah. I felt.
And although you had a community, you felt it was times I'm sure you felt alone. Although you knew we were there,
I did.
It was
I felt alienated.
It was nothing that we could do.
I felt alienated because in my mind I felt like the comments would be, "Why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Why do you have these feelings? It's not like you were all together." But that was neither here nor there. Like, I don't know if you all have ever lost your co-parent, but there are a couple of different levels of grief you have to handle in that. You have to handle your own grief, and the place that you were with them, the place that you had been with them, the love that you had for them, and then you also have to handle your child's grief. Because she's 4 and there are questions that arise, and sometimes I don't know how to answer them on the spot.
Yeah.
I too have a therapist that I have talked to, and that I am in close contact with, and I have regular sessions, and it's been of great help because I told her it felt like the breath had been knocked out of me. There were moments where I felt like I was dissociated from reality. And I was like, is this, to me, I feel like that is the loss that has impacted my life the greatest, and that is not to downplay any of the others, but it just was very impactful. It affects me, it affects my daughter, and it will forever affect her. And I think about the daddy-daughter dances that, she won't have him present for. I think about funny things that he did. Yeah. I remember a specific memory where we had gone to Miami, and I had heard him humming this particular tune like weeks before we even embarked on this trip. And then suddenly at the airport, we standing in line at the airport. We were actually at the Starbucks line because we were just waiting to board our plane. And he started humming this same tune over again. And I was just like, bro, you you humming this same tune. But he was a musician, that was one of his many talents. He was a musician. Yeah, he was a great trumpet player. I have some songs that he created that he sent me saved on my phone, and I wholeheartedly intend to share them with our daughter, keep them, save them. They touch a very special place in my heart. With my sister, I think about how she used to chew gum all the time. She used to chew
and pop it with them teeth.
Pop it.
She could pop it with her teeth. She'll be chewing it and it'd be popping at the same time. Y'all know how that Southern thing is. I don't know if it's just a Southern thing, but with them wisdom teeth.
Way back in the back.
Way back there. And I've been trying to do that for years. I bit my tongue a few times, baby. A swollen gland, but...
Child, I can pop the gum. And every time I do it, though, it makes me think about her. She was a petite woman. She was about 5 feet.
Long hair.
Very petite, beautiful hair. Could sing. Her and my other sister. Long nails, right. Very funny. Natural beauty. She wasn't a makeup person. She didn't... she was all natural. And she was real. She was real. She'll pull up on you. Another fun memory that I have of her, I remember I had posted this post on Facebook, and it was just like a screenshot, something that somebody else posted. And I thought it was funny, so I shared it to my page. But it was something about Rent-A-Center and the payment being late, and somebody was finna pull up because the payment was late. And she called me and she was like, who finna pull up on you? She said, good. Not girl. She said, good, because I was finna be on my way.
That was Kathy.
Good. And then she used to do this little thing right here where she would stand up and be like, So there are a lot of memories that I hold in my heart, about the lost loved ones. And that is one of the things that has helped me move through processing through. When my daughter's father passed, I cried and cried and cried and cried. But remembering the funny things, remembering the moments shared, Watching comedy, listening to music is therapy for me. It's therapeutic. So that's helped me.
Yeah, to chime in on that there, I could definitely remember some fun, happy, excited moments about the loved ones that I lost. Also about my ex. And so like Night Nurse Davis expressed, that we have to remember the positive things to keep from going into that, sinking into that hole any deeper than what we probably already are naturally. Because some of it just comes with territory of losing, right. Of grieving. It's just a part of the process and a part of the journey. But I will say it's really been hard for me to laugh over crying. It just has been for me, and that's one thing, like, I feel like we probably have we may have in common to a certain extent, but that where we differentiate and how we express. And so for me, I've been more, if I'm being quite honest, I've had more questions and more anger and sadness than happiness. Not that I want to stay in that space, but it's just had a strong hold on me. And I think a lot of it plays a part. What plays a part the most is some challenges that I've had personally outside of the grieving and the losing of the relationship or loved ones. So it was like added weight on top of what I already had to deal with personally. And so because of that, I am human. I've learned to, with my therapy after talking, I've learned to give myself a little more grace, learning how to give myself grace, because I wasn't giving myself any grace.
How do you do that?
Actually sitting back and not being impulsive in my thoughts and emotions. Okay. Because that's my nature. I'm impulsive. If you didn't know, I could be very, very impulsive.
Aries thing.
Yes, it is the Aries thing. So I've had to learn how to, choose my battles with the world. I've had to learn how to choose my battles within myself.
Okay.
And so I'm learning how to do that. That's good, ain't it? That was real good.
That was real good. We can take that right. Hey, take notes. Take notes.
Yeah,
you got your notebook. Take notes on that. I like that.
Learning how to choose your battles within yourself can be a challenge. That's the biggest challenge, actually, right. Because we've always made excuses. We've always justified our behaviors, our actions, our reaction, our thoughts, the way we process it. Well, I'm going through this, and so this is just going, it's just part of, make excuses. We'll make excuses in a minute when we don't want to work on something or we don't want to deal with it head on, the man in the mirror, when we don't really want to do that and put forth the effort and energy, or we don't even have the energy to do so. Because I was in that space so many times where I just did not have the energy or capacity to even try to explain to not only to myself, but to others that this is just where I am. And I don't know how to express it. And I'm not trying to express it, because I'm anything that I have left, I'm trying to preserve for myself, just to be able to get up, to exhale and inhale. And sometimes choosing what I need to eat for breakfast or lunch is hard, because I can be so overwhelmed or overstimulated with these thoughts in my head, and a lot of times we're our worst enemy, our worst enemy. And so learning how to that's how I've learned how to give myself grace, which is focus on simplicity, minimizing what goes out. Also what I give access to, who I give access to. And doing that, monitoring that, has helped me tremendously. The hardest part was learning how to not feel obligated to certain things or people, or feeling obligated to express my thoughts and feelings at the moment, but being okay with where I am, and that's just that, and not feeling obligated to I don't owe anybody anything at the moment, Right. And so, whereas, when you're normal, you don't even realize what you're doing. You're just talking and catching up with loved ones and expressing thoughts, feelings, challenges that you may have had and all that. I don't have any of that at this point in time. I really don't. I have a few people on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 fingers that I know I can call that not necessarily are draining, because this is my thing. And we're gonna move on. So I don't have a problem expressing myself a lot of times and my thoughts and feelings. But if I'm doing that, most cases, I'm looking for some type of resolve, like some type of idea or inspiration from that other part. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna just be talking or expressing those important, in-depth thoughts and feelings and emotions of myself just to be saying it.
Okay.
Most cases, if I'm doing that,
about you.
yeah. So if I'm gonna be doing that, when I talk to you, that means I value your thoughts. I value what you have to say. I can feel the genuine sincerity, the compassion. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going to do that, take it definitely for what it's worth, because I'm just not. I feel like sometimes it's more draining to speak to a empty ear than it is for someone that actually really cares about your tomorrow, your well-being. You know, so I'm not going to just be doing that for my health. But yeah, that's some of the things that I've done to make sure that I am learning how to better cope and deal with grief, and learning how to move forward and give myself grace. Learning better how to give myself grace. Yeah.
Got it. And thank you for sharing that, because again, we all function differently, right? Some people just want a listening ear. They don't want any input or any advice or anything like that. So we move differently. It is good to know, right, though, with you being my cousin and we talk a lot, right, that you prefer some advice, some suggestions.
I like the harsh truth.
Okay.
You know, I can appreciate it.
Okay.
Let me be clear. I can appreciate it because I feel like it helps you heal. Yeah. Like I can deal with facts. Facts forces me to hit it on. That's why a lot of people avoid facts, the truth. Because it forces you into a space of, it's no longer any denial. There's no justification. You can't cover any of it up. The cover has been lifted. Yeah. And so it forces you into a space where it puts you under the light, where you have to straighten up. You have to begin the healing process. You have to take the next step forward. You have to, look into, ways of overcoming and healing and working. Yeah. And doing all these things. So yeah, but sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You touched on a few very important points in discussing or describing your symptoms that you experience through your grieving processes. You talked about how it was a lot to even just get up, yes, and to figure out what you were going to do, what you were going to eat from one meal to the next, the lack of energy. And I want to point this out because it's important to note that in this stage, you're probably in the depressive phase, yeah, right? Because depression symptoms include characteristics such as a lack of motivation, yes, a lack of energy, the loss of interest, you're isolating, you're withdrawn, you may be sleeping too much, you might be sleeping too little, depending on what's going on inside your mind or your thoughts racing. Yeah. You might not have an appetite at all. You might want to eat your feelings. Yeah. And that's okay, but that's not a place that we want to stay in, yes, right? Sometimes people even get to a point to where they feel like this is too much. And we hope that you reach out to any mental health services before it gets to that point, but it is never too late. It is never too late to reach out and say, I need help. If you call a trusted friend, a trusted family member, there is also the 988 crisis hotline number that you can text and or call. Oh, okay. Yeah, and they'll respond to you. You can text the 741-741, which is also a crisis line that you can text if you feel like you just need help. they can send a mobile crisis unit out to you. And so we just want to make sure, because mental health is a big deal, and grief can lead to some pretty significant mental health spirals.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Before you know it.
Yeah, right. Like before you know it, you can't, you're barely functioning, and it can take a whole lot out of you. I totally echo the fact that, you need to take time for yourself. You need to set healthy boundaries. It is oftentimes where you have to rediscover yourself, especially if it was a significant or really close loss, like a partner. And you're used to moving throughout your day to day with them. And now that person is gone. So you have to learn yourself all over again, and who you are with that particular person, who you are now versus who you were with that person. What your daily routine looked like with them versus what is my daily routine going to look like now? I don't know. We used to get up and cook breakfast together. They used to cook breakfast for me, or vice versa. We used to have dinner together, and now this person is gone. I don't even feel like I can breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, you mentioned dinners and commonalities and all these things. So when their favorite song comes on, or you come across the smell of a cologne or a perfume, or their favorite meal, or
Y'all's favorite song.
their favorite color, how does that impact you, and in what way, and if so, how does that process look for you in that moment, in that space?
I think initially in the process, it's hard for me to go to any place that we may have visited together, or listen to any song that I know they loved, or a song that we shared, or a meal that we shared, but as time goes on, I think I kind of force myself, just like this conversation, for example. This is a difficult conversation to have because we are both describing some significant losses that we experience, and if we just keep avoiding them, then they have some sort of hold over us, power. So it's the same thing with these songs and these meals and these places. I give it its space initially. But in time, I feel like I can't shut myself off to the world. And so if I happen to visit a restaurant that maybe was our favorite restaurant, and we visited that when we came to your birthday in April, I cried the whole way home.
Really?
Because it was a place that we went together. No, Atlanta Fish Market. Yeah. I cried the whole way home. I called San and I cried on the phone with her, and there was a rush of memories that came back, but it's something that I knew I had to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going there again this weekend. Okay. But it's something that I have to do because I can't continue to bar myself away from certain things or places or experiences. Child, the key lime margarita is key lime margaritaing. Okay.
Okay. The custard is mustard.
What?
The custard is mustard. Yes,
but
indeed.
I just think that I have to face those things head on, because then how else am I going to overcome these things that now have me in a stronghold? I'm afraid to experience these places, or this song, or, these dishes, this food, these, whatever the experience may be, because this is something we shared. Now I try to envision a positive memory that we had there. And I really try to just leave it there and not go down the spiral of, when he was here and this happened. And, I try to just think about maybe something that made me laugh about that experience, or something that made me smile, something that made me feel warm and fuzzy, on the inside with that experience. And I try really hard to cut that off. If I got to turn on another song, if I have to call somebody, whatever it is, I try to just leave it there.
Right.
And slowly but surely I can progress into more and more of listening to that song, or going to that place, or cooking that meal, or wearing that outfit. I'm not going to lie to you. I pulled out of my closet today the dress that I wore at our engagement, and I put it right back in the closet. because I wasn't ready for that yet.
Yeah.
It's baby steps.
Yeah.
But I do see the progress, and I feel like you just have to, like you said, you have to give yourself grace, and you have to move with what feels.
For that stuff.
Yeah.
And to kind of piggyback on you, now I handle my grief a little different. Now mine is it's still two different scenarios because you actually lost, an ex and a partner, previous partner. But for me, I still feel like it was somewhat of a loss. But I didn't stop going to some of the places that we used to go to. It didn't. It crossed my mind, but it wouldn't affect me in a way emotionally where I was being really impacted. And so now for a while I didn't want to do those things because it would make me angry. But for the most part, I don't have those issues. Eating some of the same things, baby. I'm hungry. I'm eating. I'm eating. Baby, I'm finna make that. He made the best Tuscany salmon dish, and I makes it to this day. And I tear it up, and I don't be thinking about none of it.
Is my hand like the people in the church? We gonna cook that again.
Well, it ain't nothing but a thing and a chicken wing. It's the bourbon salmon, marinated bourbon salmon, and it's the shrimp, the steamed seasoned shrimp, but it's like an Alfredo white wine sauce that you make with spinach and the cherry tomatoes in it that he used to make. And we top it off with Parmesan cheese, and we put it over a bed of homemade garlic mashed potatoes. Oh my God. Maybe with a side of asparagus or something. It's really filling and it's really good. But anyway, yeah, so that's my point. I ain't think about that. Excuse me. I ain't think about them. So I'll be ready to puppy pow. So yeah, but anyway, so feel free, please let us know what grief looked like for you. How do you handle it? How do you maneuver? How do you function? How has it impacted you? What does the moving forward look like for you? And understand that you have to learn how to give yourself grace, space, and time. Don't feel obligated to do anything outside of what is needed for your healing process. You owe no one unless you have children, and a partner, but you have to kind of figure that out. But you owe no one an explanation as to how you handle that and what it looks like, because half the time you don't even know. You learning as you go along. And so, we want to leave you all with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes grief can sneak up on you.
It can sneak up.
Some people go through phases where they're like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't cry. I didn't, da-da-da-da. And I felt like that initially, like when my sister passed, I felt the grief and I cried. But I think the compilation of all the losses hit me so hard a couple months ago. Yeah. I legit almost called 988 myself. Yeah. I stood right out there in my backyard and I just cried. And I cried.
And that's
healthy.
So y'all get it out. Because stress can kill you. Those tears, they can either, you pay now, you pay later.
Exactly. People will tell you, don't you think you, or the opposite, like, don't you think you done cried enough? You need to get back to you like you do. There is a level of normalcy that you have to maintain to keep it running. But there is not a limit on tears. There's not a limit on your emotions that you feel. Your grief is exactly that. It's your grief. It's your grief. And nobody can tell you what that should look like or how it should feel. You might not even know what that should look like or how it should feel, but it's something that you have to take day by day, minute by minute, second by second. And you just have to figure out what works for you through that. Yep.
So, yeah, we want to just leave that with you all. And again, we want your thoughts. Please share with us. And if you could relate, let us know that too. We want to hear everything, down in that comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell your friends, tell your family, because we're doing a new thing here. We want to be able to connect on a humane level and on an authentic level, and create a safe space to be able to express and do those things. We're all we got, folks.
We all we got. Tell your friends, tell your mamas. Tell your
Yeah.
nosy cousin, your nosy coworker
tell
that's
them.
sliding in your office. Tell them too. We want the subscribers.
Oh, yeah, tell them. Yeah,
Tell them too.
Yeah.
Tell them. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, my bad. I thought you said something else.
But we love y'all, and as always, it has been a pleasure. This is AN-T-NEES.
And Benefit this. Once again.
I'll let y'all next time. Be easy.
Peace out.